This 1970s classic proves they really don't make fragrances like they used to. What's good, guys? Hunter here and welcome back to Fragrance Hunter. Hope you're all doing good. Today we are reviewing a classic from the house of Napoleon called Daniel, which apparently has been around since 1975, which would pretty much be its 50th anniversary at the time of this recording. And I don't know about you, but I actually love and appreciate my old school, sophisticated, classy, kind of old money style fragrances. And to be honest, that's exactly what this is right here. Fragrances nowadays cannot capture the kind of vibe you get from these. And that's just the honest truth, guys. They do not make fragrances like they used to decades ago. So if you want to smell like a gentleman, classy, sophisticated, and like old money, you're in for a treat with this review. Now, I do want to shout out Napoleon for sending Daniel over for review. Of course, if it's good, it's good. If it's not, it's not. I'm always gonna keep it honest with you guys. You already know the drill. Now, let's run down some information. So Daniel was, like I said earlier, launched in 1975. So it's 50 years old at the time of this recording, which is crazy to even think about. And for the retail price on, I believe, the only size this comes in, which is the 100 ml, is gonna run you $235, which honestly is a little bit pricey, but hey, it is a vintage old school fragrance. That's a work of art, and the artist can charge whatever they want for their work, like I always say in my reviews, guys. At least that's how I look at fragrances, are like works of art. Every single one of the bottles I own. So yeah, definitely a little bit pricey, but I believe on their website they do have like promos and stuff like that, so you can save a little bit of money. For the concentration, this is going to be an eau de parfum, so you're getting around 20% oils in this as well, which is always very high. And for the perfumer, I try to do a ton of research. I have no idea the nose that went behind Daniel. And I believe this fragrance was passed down from like grandfather, the grandson, etc. So it's probably out there somewhere. I just cannot find that information. So if anybody knows, drop a comment down below. Now, with all the information out of the way, let's look at the packaging and presentation you get with Daniel now. All right, take a look at this box presentation, which is kind of basic, but man, is it classy. I love the color scheme with this kind of off-white color tone going on. Napoleon in gold 1975 Daniel Eau de Parfum. These are made in Italy as well. On the bottom, you got your batch code to authenticate a product and see when it was produced. All your ingredients and information on the back and the website is right there, and nothing up top. So take a look at this bottle, which gives off this very elegant, timeless design that you can never go wrong with. Of course, I believe this is a new modern take on the bottle styles. The old ones did not look like this. Of course, you have that kind of cream off-white kind of sticker on the front. Napoleon Daniel, made in Italy as well. On the bottom, you got your sticker with your batch code and information. Nothing on the back, nothing on top of the cap, which is a metal cap, very heavy and hefty, which is nice. Nothing on the atomizer, and it does hold in by friction very, very securely. All in all, beautiful, elegant bottle presentation. In the top, you got litchi, cubeba, bergamot, and lemon. In the mid, you got elemi, ginger, nutmeg, and cloves. And in the base, you got musk, woody notes, sandalwood, cedar, and moss. And this is classified as a citrus fresh. So let's spray this, test out these atomizers. Beautiful distribution. That actually sprays very wide and is pressurized, which I always like. So let's remind myself of the classic Napoleon Daniel. And of course, you already know I'll let you guys do that first sniff. Man, does this fragrance transport you back to the 70s. Even though I never lived in the 70s, this is how I imagine the 70s to smell like, and I love it because right away you're gonna get this very sharp, floral, litchi, cubeba note, which gives off this very lemony floral type of vibe. Sharp, kind of green, a little bit kind of fresh as well is the exact vibe this is gonna open up with. Mixed together with, of course, that beautiful, bright, citrusy Italian lemon. Italians know how to do their lemon, and it gives off that beautiful, perfect lemon vibe in the opening, mixed together with the litchi, cubeba note, which also gives off a lemony tone. So it's gonna be lemony throughout the entire opening, guys. Very, very heavy on lemon. And the opening kind of reminds me a little bit of like Acqua di Parma's Cologne, which is also a beautiful Italian fragrance that's been around for 100 years and gives off that lemon tone in the opening as well. But this one, it definitely has a ton more depth than something like Cologne, believe me. So if you love your Italian lemon fragrances that are classy, elegant, this is going to be a must. I mean, seriously, spraying this one on makes me smell like I should be driving around in a Rolls Royce. It's that classy. Now, as you make your way into the mid, you are going to get this very fresh, resinous, LME note, guys. I love LME, especially when it's done in a fresh way combined with other fresh notes. It's the best resin to pick because it's by far the freshest resinous note in perfumery as well, over benzoin, over amber, over pretty much everything else, guys. And with the LME, you are gonna get, of course, this fresh, zesty, spicy, uplifting ginger note, guys. If you know me, I love ginger. I'll always have a ginger if I can in fragrances, guys. It just makes the fragrance much more elevated. And you already know ginger goes perfect with lemon, LME, etc. because it's so fresh and zesty. Now don't get me wrong though, besides the fresh ginger, you do have a little bit of other spices such as the nutmeg, and of course you have that spicy clove as well. So it does have a nice spicy backbone to the composition. It's not all fresh, if you know what I mean. And I actually love the kind of turn it starts taking as it dries down. Just adds a ton more character, a ton more personality to the fragrance, and makes it smell even more expensive just because of that spicy kick that it starts giving off. And believe me, this fragrance absolutely means business. Now, finally, once you make your way into the base of a Daniel, you are gonna get this very kind of grounded woody cedar wood mixed together with a very kind of white, fluffy musk that's clean with, of course, a slightly green, earthy, mossy tone as well. When you think of classic fragrances, one of the main notes I think of is absolutely moss or oak moss, and you're definitely gonna get some in the base of this, which makes it very, very masculine, gentlemanly, and classic. Just a fragrance that smells like old money, gives off power, confidence, and sophistication in a bottle. For the best seasons to rock a Daniel, this one's actually very versatile, signature scent worthy, spring, summer, fall, and winter. It's the kind of fragrance, does not matter what the kind of weather is outside. If it's snowing, if it's sunny, you can still rock this one as a signature scent, especially if you're the type of dude that fits this scent profile. It's gonna suit you perfectly. You are gonna have to be a classy dude to be able to rock this all year round though. I'm gonna tell you that right now. And of course, if you are wearing something like this as a signature scent, I already know you got great taste in fragrances. And for occasion, this one does give off more formal vibes, especially nowadays. I know back in the day, you can wear this one pretty much casually and formal because back in the day in the 70s, everybody dressed up, running errands, going to work. Nobody dressed like a bum like they do nowadays. But today, it does give off more formal rather than casual vibes. It's something that you want to wear when you want to be confident. You're going to like an important meeting, going to work, going on a date night in the evening time. You want to come across like a gentleman. This one's going to be a winner for all of those occasions in a formal situation. Like if you're wearing this one to go for a job interview, you're going to get the job, no doubt about it, because you're going to come across like you got your life together and you know business. Because believe me, the majority of people are not smelling like this today. So if you want to give off a vibe like that, this is the kind of fragrance you want to go for. So for a gender, of course, this one's a very much masculine, guys. Like a very, very masculine, classic gentleman DNA. There's nothing feminine about this at all, not even a pinch. This is the kind of fragrance DNA that men back in the 70s were rocking. And I'm not even gonna lie to you, men back in the 70s were much more masculine than the typical kind of guy nowadays, which is sad to even say, but it's true. Like this is the kind of fragrance that would almost put hair on your chest in an elegant type of way, if you get my drift with that. Just because it's got that old school citrusy vibes, it has the kind of spiciness thrown in there with that kind of woody oak mossy base. And for age groups, you guys already know, mature as well. There's nothing youthful about this. I cannot see a younger audience gravitating towards a DNA like this either. I personally think this fits somebody like 30 and up the absolute best. If I had a picture in my head, that's exactly the age group rocking this one without a doubt. Some guy that kind of already established their life, has a vision for themselves, know what they're doing, maybe even like a father, a husband, has a family, is like a businessman, a CEO, a boss, something like that is the vision I have when I smell this fragrance anywhere. So if you're wearing a fragrance like this, you don't already have your life together, you might be deceiving some people. Now, wrapping the review off, talking on the performance you should get from a Napoleon and Daniel. Now, this one is an eau de parfum, like I said, which means it is pretty highly concentrated. From my testing on skin, I got about average performance from it, which means you should get a solid 8 hours of longevity on skin, which is no slouch. It's not a weak fragrance by any means. It will get you through the majority of the day, like a full 8-hour work shift, etc. Plus, if you apply your clothes, which I recommend, you will of course boost it a little bit with a few hours and longer. Because if you don't already know, if you apply your skin, it boosts projection. However, if you apply your clothes, it boosts the longevity. So do a mixture of both, guys, which I always do myself. This is not a weak fragrance at all, guys. Kind of actually took me by surprise, because when I think of fragrances of this nature into this genre, like Acqua di Parma Colonia, that's a very, very weak fragrance compared to something like this. Because that fragrance probably lasts maybe like 4 hours at maximum, because that is an eau de cologne, which is far weaker than this. So if you're looking for that kind of classic, elegant, lemony type of fragrance that actually performs, this might be the one to go for. And also with the projection side of things, I got about moderate projection. So this one actually does push out the skin fairly nicely, maybe even over an arm's length of distance for the first few hours because of that very sharp, lemony, kind of citrusy, fresh opening. But as it starts to dry down, it does come a little bit closer and does give off about a moderate projection, but people around you are guaranteed to smell you. You probably will get comments because you're not going to smell like anybody else around, because you're actually going to smell like a true gentleman compared to everybody else, which women love. So the first few hours, pretty strong projection that does start coming a little bit closer to the skin as it settles, which I kind of expected from the projection, because when I first tried this one on, I was like, whoa, I already know this one's going to perform very well, which is most of the time with like very sharp, floral, citrusy fragrances, they always push off the skin heavenly. But still, at the end of the day, I would say about average performance from Napoleon Daniel, which I'm not complaining about whatsoever, especially given a genre fragrance like this. But that's gonna do it from a review of the classic from the 70s, Napoleon Daniel. Let me know down below if you guys have ever heard of Daniel. Have you tried this one? Are you a fan of old school classic fragrances from the 70s? Drop some recommendations down below that you love. And of course, besides that though, leave a like on the video, subscribe as well if you haven't already, because what are you doing? I got you guys with daily fragrance content. Of course, I'm gonna catch all of you back here tomorrow. Take care, everybody.